That nagging feeling that you're too much, too sensitive, too needy, too difficult to be around. You've probably heard it before. Or worse, you've told yourself this story so many times that it feels like absolute truth. The weight of believing you're a burden is exhausting, and you might have learned to shrink yourself, to apologize for existing, to make yourself smaller so others feel more comfortable. But here's what psychology reveals. That feeling isn't evidence that something's wrong with you. You're not broken. You're wired differently, and that difference comes with hidden strengths that most people will never develop. In this video, we're exploring 6 rare psychological traits that emerge when you've internalized the belief that you're a burden. If you've ever been called too much or felt guilty for having needs, if you've spent energy managing other people's emotions before your own, or if you felt responsible for other people's happiness, this is going to reframe everything you thought was wrong with you. These traits aren't defects. They're superpowers in disguise. Here's what's happening in your brain. When you feel like a burden, you've likely spent years developing an almost supernatural ability to read other people. You notice the micro-expressions. The tone shifts. The energy changes in a room before anyone else does. You're tuned into emotional frequencies that most people completely miss. This happens because your nervous system has learned to prioritize others' emotional states as a survival mechanism. You've trained yourself to be emotionally fluent. This might show up as you being the person everyone comes to with their problems, or you noticing when someone's pretending to be okay when they're actually struggling. You might find yourself anticipating people's needs before they even ask. Or you're the one who remembers details about people's lives that they've only mentioned once. This isn't weakness. This is emotional intelligence at an advanced level. Psychology calls this affective empathy, and research shows that people with heightened empathy have stronger relationships, make better leaders, and create safer spaces for others to be vulnerable. Your burden-feeling brain developed one of the most valuable skills a human can possess. When you believe you're a burden, you develop an almost obsessive need to prove your worth. That means you become reliable in ways that most people simply aren't. Here's what's happening. Your brain has learned that being responsible, following through, and exceeding expectations keeps you safe and valued. So you do exactly that, consistently. You might find yourself being the person who always follows through on commitments, who takes on extra work without complaining, or who has an almost perfectionist approach to the things you care about. People know they can trust you completely. You might even frustrate yourself because you hold yourself to impossibly high standards, but that same mechanism makes you incredibly dependable. This isn't exhaustion waiting to happen, though it can become that without boundaries. This is conscientiousness, one of the strongest predictors of long-term success in psychology. People with your level of reliability earn more, maintain stronger relationships, and achieve their goals at higher rates. Your burden-believing brain didn't make you flawed. It made you someone people can count on, which is genuinely rare and genuinely valuable. People who feel like a burden are usually people who have spent tremendous time examining themselves, questioning their impact, and reflecting on their behavior. This constant internal monitoring might feel like anxiety, but it's actually developed an incredible skill: profound self-awareness. Here's what's happening in your brain. You've created detailed internal narratives about how you affect others, and while those narratives are often too harsh, the skill of introspection itself is exceptional. You might find yourself noticing your patterns before anyone else points them out, or you're genuinely interested in understanding why you do what you do. You probably journal, overthink in ways that sometimes lead to genuine insights, or you're the type of person who actively works on self-improvement because you're constantly aware of where you could grow. This isn't neurotic overthinking. This is metacognition, the ability to think about your own thinking. Psychology shows that self-aware people are better equipped to change their lives, build healthier relationships, and navigate complexity. Your burden-sensitive brain developed a rare ability to see yourself clearly. When you feel like a burden, you've likely become skilled at detecting conflict before it happens and working to prevent it. You're the peacemaker, the person who smooths over tension, who knows intuitively what everyone needs to feel heard and valued. While this trait has exhausted you, it's also given you something special, the ability to create safety in group dynamics. This might show up as you being the one who bridges different friend groups, or you naturally say the thing that makes everyone laugh and releases tension. You might find yourself in mediator roles without ever officially taking them, or you're the person who remembers to check in on people going through hard times. You probably avoid confrontation with yourself, but that same wiring makes you exceptionally attuned to group harmony. This isn't weakness or conflict avoidance disorder. This is advanced social intelligence. Psychology recognizes this as agreeableness, and research shows that agreeable people foster collaborative environments, maintain wider social networks, and create communities where people feel genuinely safe. Your burden-fearing brain developed a genuinely rare social superpower. Because you've believed you're a burden, you've become extraordinarily adaptable. You've learned to adjust your behavior, your needs, your presence based on what works for others. While that flexibility has sometimes asked you to disappear, it's also developed one of the most valuable skills in psychology: resilience through adaptability. Here's what's happening. Your nervous system has become skilled at reading context and adjusting accordingly. You might find yourself thriving in different environments where others struggle, or you're the person who handles unexpected changes better than most people around you. You probably pick up new social contexts quickly. You adjust your communication style based on who you're talking to, and you're genuinely flexible about plans and preferences because you're practiced at going with the flow. This isn't people-pleasing dysfunction. This is psychological flexibility, one of the strongest predictors of mental health and well-being. People with your level of adaptability handle life transitions better, manage stress more effectively, and actually report higher life satisfaction because they're not rigidly attached to how things should be. Your burden-shaped brain developed extraordinary resilience. If you've spent any time believing you're too much, too sensitive, or too needy, now you understand something different. Those beliefs shaped genuine strengths: your hyperempathy, your reliability, your self-awareness, your peacemaking ability, and your adaptability aren't bugs in your system. They're features. The burden you've been carrying isn't evidence that you're broken. It's evidence that you're deeply aware and deeply capable. The truth is simple. You were never the problem. You were just someone who developed extraordinary capacities in response to feeling like you didn't belong. You absolutely do. Subscribe for more psychology insights that explain who you really are. You deserve to understand your own mind as clearly and kindly as it understands everyone else.